But we begin with the care of migrants seeking asylum here in the U.S. There are critics who say it's just not right to use parts of Pima County's juvenile detention center to temporarily house these migrants.
Some of them suggested using vacant TUSD campuses instead. But as KGUN 9 on your sides, Craig Smith reports, it looks like the charity housing the migrants will go with the former detention space.
The former Benedictine monastery has housed asylum seekers since January in space donated by a developer who bought it to turn it into apartments. But now the owner needs to begin the conversion. The search for replacement space led to a plan to use space built for juvenile lawbreakers. But Pima County Supervisor Chair Richard Elias and TUSD Board President Adelita Grijalva worry that a former juvenile detention space is the wrong environment. They suggested using the former TUSD campuses of Menlo Elementary and Howenstein High School instead.
Catholic Community Services says rather than use the schools as asylum seeker shelters, it really does need to move ahead with the idea of using juvenile detention space. That's because it's the best chance of having the space available to meet the deadline to be out of the monastery by early August, and because the county is only going to charge a token lease payment of $100 a year.
Pima County Administrator Chuck Huckleberry is optimistic the federal government will reimburse the county for shelter expenses. He says the space will not be like living in a jail.
There's a huge difference between a juvenile facility and an adult facility. This is a juvenile facility. There won't be any locks on the doors. There'll be common areas that look like your living room. Basically the appearance will be very much like a college dormitory.
TUSD Superintendent Gabriel Trujillo says housing asylum seekers in former schools fits the district's mission to look out for children.
I mean, you have, like we've heard about Menlo Park. This is a facility that has a library, it's got a playground, it's got several classrooms that obviously could serve as living quarters, it's got a cafeteria space, it's got a dining area. So it's naturally kind of configured for a family atmosphere.
But he says the schools would need some prep time to be ready for immigrant families. Craig Smith, KGUN 9 on your side.